That works a lot better when we're actually here instead of over Skype trying to synchronize claps when you're not seeing each other is very difficult,
like
actually.
That.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyway, welcome everybody back to this will be episode 2 here of the Flick Your Bick podcast with Ben and Nick. Mm-hmm. We are today going to be talking about Solo.
Right.
A little indie film they are coming out, which you might not have heard of, you know.
I think I saw or heard about it some like Sundance.
Oh yeah, it's one of those artsy films.
Yeah,
yes, very
like
much
that.
so. No one, I don't know how many people are going to see it or know what we're talking about.
No. But before we begin,
yes,
Ben, what have you been listening to?
What I've been listening to, well, listeners, this is a new, I guess, topic or segment that we're going to be doing on the podcast here, talking about what are we flicking our Bicks to this week, in relation, again, when you're at like a concert back in the day with your lighter out, waving it around, kind of creates that communal chill vibe that we're going for. So every week we're going to talk a little bit about what are we flicking our Bicks to, and that could be music, that could be something else that we're listening to, watching, that's like really got us really tickling us, titillating us, you might say.
Good word.
What are we titillated by today? It's a great word. We learned that in high school or something. I'm not sure where. We're like, oh, tits, hilarious. But yeah, so what am I flicking my Bick to this week? For one, I just started watching the show Community, which is absolutely incredible. I'm maybe 12 episodes in. It's unbelievably funny. I didn't know it was created by Dan Harmon. Who was doing Rick and Morty, and also the Russo brothers.
I think they directed like 2 episodes.
I think they're the producers. I think.
Are they?
And
okay.
I think they did some directing, but
I know they directed. I haven't seen the show either, but I know they directed like a Dungeons and Dragons specific episode, which I heard is a really
sounds about
really
right.
One.
No, it's unbelievable. So you got a very young Joel McHale, Donald Glover, Allison Brie, who is climbing my list of women I am attracted to.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
The list keeps
especially in this show, she's got like this like nerdy bookish thing going on, and it's very nice. I am a fan. I'm a big fan. But yeah, the show is just absolutely hilarious. It's just like really my type of humor, and it's just been really tickling me recently, and I'm obsessed with it. I watched way too many episodes last night and was up way too late, but it was totally worth it. So that's been it for me. Music wise, I have been listening to, oddly, a lot of country. I'm not a huge country fan, but there's a Zac Brown Band concert coming up in Lincoln that I think we're going to be going to here in a couple of weeks. I'm trying to get back into the vibe because it's been a long time since I really listened to country. So figured if I'm going to the show, I should try to kind of get back into it a little bit. I like very select country. I would not consider myself.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like the only country that I kind of like, which it's kind of a bad thing, kind of like the more poppy rock.
Oh really?
One.
See, I don't like that. That bothers me.
It's mostly because working at Newman's, like that's all I'm playing. So I'm like, well, I guess I have 3 years of my life to listen to this. I might as well start liking it.
Yes. Well, when you grow up where we do, you can't really escape it.
No, you cannot.
Get used to it or drive yourself insane.
No.
Your two options. Yeah, and I tend to like ensemble country more than solo artists, just because I appreciate a good harmonization. You know.
So let me ask, are you into like the old country, like from like the 50s era?
Some gets a little twangy for me sometimes.
Understandable.
But if it skews more bluegrassy,
oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm into that.
Yeah.
Which skews more folk, which I enjoy. If we stay more on that side, then like twangy country, I'm pretty good, but there's a very fine line for me.
I'm pretty hit or miss about most country music and even the older stuff, which a lot of people like. This is actually country.
This is real country music.
Yeah, it makes sense. So
before
like
electric guitars and
they got like the country artists now are like rapping, like dropping a fat beat in their songs.
And they have like backbeats and
just like
and stuff in there. Yeah, this doesn't seem something accurate to the vibe we're going for, but all right,
exactly.
Whatever works, man. Make that money.
All right, cool.
All right, what about you, Nick? What are you flicking it to?
So I
can't get over that. Sounds awful.
Sexual.
I love it though.
Still
It's great. It's great.
My music tastes are pretty weird. Like I like all genres of music. Kind of for me specifically, music needs to be on like I need to feel like an emotion from it.
Right.
Which I know it's a little bit bland saying that in the first place, but personally I need to like feel some kind of emotion to like appreciate a good song. And a lot of music that actually instills emotion is like ambient music or like background music.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like original soundtracks and that
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
So like I mean they're put in the background during like an important movie part of like a movie or anything like that. So like it instills emotion that goes with the scene. So that's why I like a lot of
like perhaps Mr. John Williams with Star Wars.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely.
Maybe talking about later.
Yes. Possibly. Yeah. We'll see. So that includes like movie soundtracks and video game soundtracks. So I have been eye goggling, I guess more ear goggling, the Breath of the Wild original soundtrack.
Dude. It's so great, and it's very minimalist. That's the biggest thing about that game.
Yeah,
that really got me is it just kind of gets out of the way. There's no like soaring thing, and it's just very It's almost the nature sounds in the game are almost part of the soundtrack, which is really interesting. Like, and there's just these light little guitar strums and like some light flutes and stuff there. It's amazing.
I've noticed in that soundtrack that they use a lot, and just the game in general. Sorry to go on like a video game tangent, but
it's gonna happen on this show.
Yeah, so it's related to music, which is the beginning topic. But that soundtrack has they use a lot of just silence. There'll be like a little twang, a little rift, and then just silence, just so you can like appreciate the nature, because like that's what nature does not have, just like music. So it's like you really gotta like take into the nature, just things around you, which it fits perfectly.
Oh yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah,
and it's funny you mention that because I've been thinking about Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2 coming out later.
Never think about
and
that.
It's very similar, where you're out there, in the wilds on your horse, running around hunting or like moving the cattle and doing stuff, and it's again. It will like come in and out at certain times, and it's very minimalist, and you hear the nature sounds. Then it'll come in with a nice westerny guitar twang here and there. Very actually, that's now that you're saying that, it's very much kind of how Red Dead was.
Yeah,
which makes sense because I love both those games very much.
Absolutely. There would be times in both those games where there'd just be like maybe a half an hour just no music, which it really does justice to just like exploring and just taking in nature, which I've been like just having a ball, just like driving in my cars. Nature.
I'm in it, man. I can go anywhere.
So I tend to listen to just a lot of just ambient soundtracks.
I totally get that.
Yeah, like Lord of the Rings soundtrack, always a great one to listen to. But yeah,
I totally see that. My only issue with the Breath of the Wild soundtrack, in certain places it would just be very, like I said, very light, very soft, and then when I'd be like playing it late at night, it would make me really sleepy. Out there like walking around playing, just like these light little like strums, and there's like these light like nature sounds. I'm just like, oh no. It's probably a good thing because I honestly should go to bed and not have these late night marathons. But that I would like wake up like later and be like, oh, it's daytime in the game now. Like,
Link's been standing here for days.
What's going on? Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, that's a good call.
Yeah, like even if you don't like games or just or that kind of stuff, just give it a listen. Just like when you're doing like when you're doing like a long drive, like you're starting to think like really deeply. Just like play that, and like that'll go perfectly.
Yeah. And I listen to a lot of soundtrack stuff when I'm studying too.
Yes,
or like doing work on the computer. It kind of keeps you going, as long as it doesn't get too bombastic. Because sometimes, like this, the End of the West, the part of the Lord of the Rings was like dun dun.
Oh
dun,
yeah.
Will come in, and I'm like writing the paper, and I start getting like really into it, like really pounding the keys. I'm like, hey, this is too aggressive. This is not good for writing. It's actually distracting me.
Have you heard of lo-fi hip hop?
No.
That's what I use to listen to studying.
Okay.
But that we can talk about that on another topic.
All right. So that's what we've been flicking our Bicks to this week. For every podcast, I think we're going to start with something like that and talk about what's just kind of titillating us at the moment.
Fits with the theme of music. So,
it does. Yeah. Very much so. Very much so.
And who doesn't like music except for Robbie off New Girl?
I just don't like music.
Yeah, I like music. What?
It's so good. God, I love that show. Too funny. I gotta catch up with that before it ends and people spoil it for me. Anywho, man, we can go on tangents all day here. We've already hit like 5 different things. Like I said before, this is kind of our pre-pod for the Solo movie coming out. Just a little bit of background on us and our history with Star Wars. We were both diehard, grown up with Star Wars as kids. I broke our family's VHS player because I kept playing Return of the Jedi over and over again.
You saw it when you were really young then.
Yeah, my parents have the it's the box set. It's really old. It's all black, but it has like the characters' faces on each one.
Yeah, I know what you're
talking about. And they're like THX, like updated VHS. So it was like a big deal. It was like full sound for the first time. Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's the theatrical edition, like none of the weird animated shit that they put in later.
Okay, so it's the legit,
it's the OG, and that's what I grew up on.
Excellent.
Was watching that, and I couldn't be happier.
What kind of age would you say when you first started watching
it? That's a good question. Pretty young, like
pretty young,
single digits.
Okay,
still.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty dang young. I couldn't give you a date per se, but I remember, like, being very small.
Okay.
And just rewatching that and the Batman animated series. This is about all I watched for probably a couple years.
I kind of got into Star Wars a little bit late. I didn't really. I want to say I didn't get into it till like I turned 12. Like, I probably like the first memory of me going to an actual movie is probably Phantom Menace.
I do have Phantom Menace memories myself. Yes,
that is like the first memory I have of me going to a specific movie.
Yeah.
Did not know what Star Wars was before at that time. I don't really remember how old I was, like 10, 12, around there. But that after Phantom Menace, then there was all these movies before.
Like, what is this? What's going on?
Yeah, like I had no freaking clue. But yeah, I was
sad that Phantom Menace was your first Star Wars movie.
Yeah, a bit.
But also, we were in the right age group where when the prequels came out, we were so young that we didn't have like a real movie
background
critique capabilities that we were just like, hey, more Star Wars, this is awesome. So we're almost like the perfect age for Star Wars. Because I like grew up like thinking the prequels were like cool. Like, oh, these are good. Like, let's go along with it. Then as you get older, people are like, oh, the prequels suck. And then I like went back and watched them. I don't know, maybe I was like 14, 15. And I'm like, I don't know why people thought these suck. I loved them when it came out. And then you're watching them and you're just like, oh.
So the funny thing, it's funny you mention that because I found like on YouTube a really old like news report of people watching Phantom Menace for the first time.
Oh, and they thought it was amazing.
Oh yeah, they're like,
this is the coolest shit ever. Yeah.
I think I remember like a bunch of people in that interview, like on national television, say like, I think it's better than the prequels. So like straight up,
oh, God,
just like it's crazy to me, like just how obscure, just nostalgia, just like shiny and new.
Well, it had been a long time, and people were just like, more Star Wars is gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
But then I wonder when it turned for people. Because we were so young that I was just like,
that's a good question.
I was just like, like this is great. Like, let's keep going.
Yeah, we're a little bit of an awkward age where we can't our minds weren't developed to like know when the switch happened.
Like, this is the worst dialogue I've ever heard. Like we didn't, we weren't thinking about that at all. And it's so crazy when you go back and watch those, the quality of actors that were performing the lowest quality script, and it's just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Yeah, so that's kind of our background. Then for me, Han Solo was always my guy. That was my dude from day one.
Gotcha.
I like this guy. He had this cool attitude. He had cool vest on. He had cool hair. I was like, this is my dude. So Han has always been like one of my favorite characters, not only in Star Wars but in just like pop culture, media, anything in general. And it's funny, like all the iterations of that character that you see now, like they're basically Han Solo types that are that permeate like any other type of media.
I mean, a really one that I really draw a parallel is just straight up Rocket and Groot. Straight up.
Or Star-Lord is essentially Han Solo. Like,
absolutely.
There's a lot of that that type, because you need the I was listening to this podcast and they were talking about like just narrative structure and stuff in Star Wars, and how Luke is like the straight man, the young kid who develops that everything happens to.
Yeah.
But they're almost too boring. You need like the fun, cool guy on the side to like liven it up and crack wise and all that.
Yeah.
And that was always what I was drawn to. Like this guy's cool. He's making jokes.
Right.
He gets a hot girl. I was a little young to like realize what I was feeling towards Carrie Fisher, but I knew something good. Like this here is good. I don't quite know why or what I feel about it, but this is
girls are good.
This is good stuff here. This is some good stuff going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my guy. So when he came back for episode 7, I was a little concerned because he's getting up there in age. Like, he wanted to die in episode 6. Like, how into this is he going to be?
He should have died in episode 6.
Yes, but I also really liked how how his character worked in 7, and the way that he died to go out like that was really cool, a really bold choice. To get killed by your son, like it was a bold choice, and it really, I think that was super needed for Kylo's character.
It definitely weighted everything.
Yeah, very much so. And so that was really cool, and I was like, all right, it hurt, but I kind of saw it coming. Like if you were like watching the commercials, I was like, Han Solo's clearly not making it through this movie. But I was happy with it. And then there was all these rumors like, oh, we have these prequel movies coming out. Rogue One came out, which was amazing.
Oh yeah,
absolutely love that film. It's a little choppy at the beginning, but
some people really don't like Rogue One.
Really?
Yeah, they're just like, I hate this. It's awful.
I don't understand that at all.
It's freaking awesome.
I get the beginning of it's a little choppy and they're planet hopping a little bit and it's a little confusing, but the last hour of that movie is unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's up there with like any Star Wars. Like
I would agree.
The last hour of that movie is up there with any hour of any other film, I think. Like
I remember talking to a friend of ours, Dad Jimmy. I was told that like he did like. Obviously, with the movie, like, you know that these people don't make it.
Right.
But he wasn't sure, like, maybe someone might make it. And then, like, when people started dying, I was like, oh, nobody's making it out of this. This is that kind of movie. Like, jeez.
Yeah. Saving Private Ryan for Star Wars is essentially what I called it. And, that was so great. So, I know a lot of people were apprehensive when they're talking about these one-off movies that they were going to do. Me kind of included, I was like, these kind of seem like they could just be cash grabs. I don't know, like, if these are really going to serve the narrative and serve the characters, but Rogue One just blew it out of the water. So I was just really excited. So when they said Solo was coming out, I was like, okay. I'm like, Han Solo is like a classic character, and you don't want some, like, weird backstory to, like, mess it up. But also, these went so well, and I was really happy about it. And the first people on the project were Lord and Miller, who made the Lego movie. Yeah, and I was like, that movie was amazing. Like, these guys have a great sense of humor. I think this is going to work. But then as it went on, turns out that them and Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy, they did not get along. They had a very different view of what the movie should be. They got canned. There was these rumors about the guy who's playing Han was like needed an acting coach. And it wasn't going well, and I was like, oh god, no. Please don't Phantom Menace my Han Solo. This is basically what I was thinking about. Then they brought in Ron Howard, who's a very experienced veteran director. I was like, okay. And then there's things coming out that is like, oh, the rewrite stuff is going well. It's going to be a good movie. So we'll see, I guess. I guess first question for you, what trailers and stuff have you seen?
Well, Episode 7 and Episode 8, I didn't watch any trailers.
You watched 0?
I watched absolutely none.
See, I watched just the first one of each one. And that was it for me.
I would highly suggest you do that to, like any, like, franchise movie, like Marvel or
that you care
DC.
About, that you're going to go to.
Like, watching Episode 7 with, like, seeing nothing about that.
That's amazing.
That, like, blew my fucking mind.
You're just like, what is happening?
Like, in the end, it's debatable, like, not a great movie, but still, like, holy shit, that was incredible. But I
have Episode 7 as fine for me.
It
was safe.
Moment. Yeah, it's safe.
But also, I feel like they had to be safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't blame them for it at all.
For Han Solo, I kind of threw that out of the window. So I watched.
It's newer, and you're like, okay, this is a completely different thing. Like, I know all these new people.
I essentially know. I know that like Han's gonna live,
and Chewie are gonna live, and Lando's gonna live. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I didn't really care that much. As the time of this recording, I'm not sure if there's gonna be a new one later, but the newest one before that trailer, I was like, hell no, and then I saw the trailer, like, all right, that won me some brownie points. Okay. I thought it looked a lot better.
I've only seen the first one.
Okay.
And it was very brief. There wasn't a lot in it, so I try not to.
I wonder if
pull too much out of it.
I wonder if he's. I don't know this for sure, but I wonder if the trailer you saw where it was like maybe had some leftover cuts from the original directors.
It might. That's the stuff I'm gonna be really curious to see when they come out.
Oh and, for sure.
Talk about it, like what stayed in, how much got rewritten, how much it was changed, because. Sometimes rewrites can be great because Rogue One had a bunch of rewrites.
Yes.
People came in and changed quite a bit of it and like added the Vader stuff, which I think made the movie pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Especially the ending scene. The ending scene was initially not in the movie. That was added in later.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So
good
idea. But also you can see how rewrites can be really bad because it's like almost two different movies that they try to cram into one, and it could be really convoluted. So we'll see. But. So just a couple topics here to kind of keep us on track. First, what are you most looking forward to in this film?
Honestly, well, I know. Well, I'm not sure. I can't remember what the first trailer had in it.
It wasn't much. He was like on that little like car skiff thing.
Right. Okay.
He's like, I've been running scams since I was 10.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a pilot, best in the galaxy.
Honestly,
and I saw a little bit of Amelia Clark looking all hot and stuff.
Her a little bit of Burnett.
She's doing some good stuff out there. She's doing some good things. And a little bit of Woody Harrelson. He's like, hey, kid, you want to like be in my crew? And then he was like, Chewie's like, he's like, that means yes. And like, that was pretty much it.
Okay.
So I didn't see a whole lot.
Honestly, I'm looking forward the most. Mm-hmm. It's really weird. The new droid that they're
I'm sure there's a new droid.
Yeah, I'm not an expert in Star Wars lore, but from my understanding, it's a new droid. I think it's not a female droid because they don't have genders, but like it's not the.
We don't know.
There's
attachments you can get to like.
The voice sounds it sounds very much like a female.
Oh, cool.
And in the trailer, the droid had some like pretty good witty lines I liked, and after seeing like K2S2 and like Rogue One, like the droids are so derpy.
Oh, yeah, they're just the best.
Battle droids, super battle droids, like
Rancher. Yeah.
But yeah,
BB-8's just cute as hell.
Yeah.
The droids are probably one of the best parts of Star Wars. Let's be honest. They're just adorable.
Do you know? Did I ever tell you the story of my sister and Garrett?
No. But I like where this is going.
She was like, we were watching Star Wars, like the prequels, I'm sorry, the original 3 movies. Sorry, my bad. And she had never seen them up until like a year ago. So like we need to see
really?
that. Yeah, crazy. And we were watching it, and every time we were watching it, and C-3PO had some lines, and she's like, "He reminds me of Garrett." And I like busted out laughing, and I texted that to Garrett.
Yeah, I bet he loved it.
He's like, "I don't think I've ever been more insulted."
Really? He is kind of a douche, but he's really smart and like
he is, but
has witty.
He's kind of like the bad.
He's kind of the square.
Yeah, the square.
Yeah, that's
exactly,
a good point.
Exactly. So
that's a good point.
It was just really freaking funny.
It's really good. Oh my god.
But yeah, the new droid in the Han Solo movie has like a lot of wit and personality, which I think is a really interesting just archetype and personality for a robot. A robot having a unique personality. So
K2 in Rogue One was very similar.
Oh yeah, he's like
a little sassy and
dry humor,
talking shit.
I love K2S too. Yeah. So yeah, I'm actually very looking forward to the droid.
Huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, I mean, I think what I'm seriously most excited about is just Donald Glover / Lando Calrissian's wardrobe.
Yeah. Oh,
he's gonna have these cool ass like 70s style jackets and stuff, and he's just gonna look pimp as hell, and I'm really excited about that. I want to see some of the origin of the little baby Han Solo vests and all his. I forget where this was. I think it was on the Ringer. This article, and you're talking about like the cool clothes from like the not prequel. God, we keep doing that.
I don't know.
God dang, the original trilogy, and like how these like jackets. They always wear like these leather jackets and like stuff that is like. Going back is like that is super in style. Like right now, like if you wore that now, like you'd look like very in hip, as my mom might say. So I would just in the trailer I saw a couple stills on Reddit, and just guys wearing these pimp ass jackets and stuff. And I was like, okay, this is gonna be sweet. Like that just that vibe, and I want that like Mos Eisley Cantina sort of feel and like grungy, lived in, dirty, lived in sort of feel. Very excited about that. I really like Woody Harrelson as well. Sounds like he's super involved in it.
He is a very diverse actor. He does a wide range of stuff.
Yeah, quite a bit. So I think that'll be interesting. And then in general, just the Falcon. Like, is there a more iconic like vehicle in any sort of iconic. Like that's gonna be awesome. I'm really looking forward to that.
When I was waiting to go watch Deadpool 2, I was like waiting in the lobby at the movie theater. And they have like a couple TVs off to the sides where they run like ads or advertisements for other movies. There's one where it was like an AMC special, but it had like I couldn't hear it because they'd have the TVs didn't have any volume. But it was like Donald Glover, and it had like a title underneath it, like what he was doing. It was like I think the title read like Donald Glover shows off his Lando closet. And it was just like Donald Glover like doing like
I gotta see
like
this.
it was kind of like an MTV like check out my crib kind of vibe, and it just like him just going through
check
a closet
out my sick ass wardrobe
with all of Lando's costumes. It was pretty cool.
That's amazing. I want to see that really bad now. Now I know what I'm doing after this. Yeah. Awesome. All right, so next, biggest concerns for the movie.
Honestly, it's really comes down to just if they're gonna screw up the just Han Solo mythos.
Yeah, just like the overall, like if you give him like some weird backstory or something.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. I don't want to. See, I don't even know like what they would do to ruin it. In all honesty, okay. I'll revise my statement.
Okay.
I hope the worst thing I think that could happen is and it could maybe be the actor's fault or maybe the script's fault, but just a really bad / weird representation of Han. Like
you still want to. It wants to make sense with the character that we meet.
Oh, absolutely! You want to see like
A New Hope. Yeah.
You want to see beats of this character like transition to the badass that we have come to know.
I don't think he doesn't have to start like that. He can start out and be kind of green and
sure,
and
absolutely,
raw. Like that's fine.
I'm expecting.
There's some people who are like, oh no, I don't want to see like Han like suck. You like Han say like no, you want to see growth. It just has to stay true to the character. I just don't want him to like do some stuff that's completely
out of character. Yeah, absolutely.
To serve like some like love story or something like on the peripheral, like I think it has to be just true to the character. And on that note, you're talking about the acting, those things that are coming out that he needed like an acting coach and that like
it wasn't going true, or?
Yes, that's from what I've heard. Yeah, like that happened. And not that I know a lot of actors, they have acting coaches on set, so it's not like completely out of the ordinary, but it sounded like it was a lot of like they brought it in because it like wasn't going well.
Okay.
So we'll see. I have a lot of sympathy for this guy because you can't be Harrison Ford, especially Harrison Ford at that age. There's a peak Harrison Fordiness. Like there's just you just don't have that. You don't have the look. You don't have that natural just like suave.
He vaguely looks like Harrison Ford. Like if I squinted, head a bit.
It's not like completely out of the realm of possibility, but just it's less the look for me and just the confidence, the feel,
swagger,
and I just that could be really hard. And if he tries, I think I don't know if I want him to just like kind of make it his own and just kind of do his thing, and like so it makes sense. Like he develops into the Han that we meet earlier. A lot of it also is a question of timeline. Like, is this going to end like kind of on a Rogue One style where it's like right before we meet him in
I was
4,
thinking like,
or is it going to be a little bit?
I was thinking like Hobbit 1, where like the beginning is like Frodo's like immediately going to wait for Gandalf. So yeah, they could potentially realistically like let's go to Mos Eisley and just chill and find another job, and that's where they could.
I feel like they could protect him a little bit if they don't do that.
Yeah,
like have it end like
too.
Maybe
exactly.
like 5-10 years before he meets
absolutely
Luke and Obi-Wan. I think that might help him a little bit.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, people are gonna if you have it butt up with episode 4, it's gonna be more of like, okay, then he needs to like basically be Harrison Ford in episode 4. Otherwise, it's gonna be super weird.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they give him a little bit of buffer because I think that would help him a lot. And I think it could be weird if he's like trying to like actually like imitate Harrison Ford, like
that could be
try to like mime him, and that could go really wrong.
Pretty off-putting.
So I don't know. That's probably my biggest concern. And just as much as I love like a good lighthearted romp, like Guardians of the Galaxy style, we don't take it too seriously and all that. And I want some of that because Han is a humorous character, and there's levity to be had. I don't know. Just for me, Star Wars, you still need some.
Well,
grittiness, some stakes, some like real.
You haven't seen the latest trailer, then? Well, I mean, you clearly you have not seen the latest trailer.
It's more
without giving too much. It does seem to like have more of a serious tone to it.
Oh, yeah, it's more serious.
Like both, yeah.
Okay.
It definitely like shows like a more serious tone. I won't say too much because for obvious reasons. There was one part where it's like it was kind of like the big like hook of the trailer, like go watch this movie so you can see what happens next kind of moment in the trailer. And again, without trying to reveal too much of the movie or the trailer, it happened to the moment was like hinting at like this thing might happen, but since we know that 4 exists, we clearly know that that's not gonna go that way. Again, trying my best to dance around it.
But that's the danger of prequels too, is that
exactly
it's hard to find. It can be hard to find stakes when you know how it's gonna end. But they totally subverted that in Rogue One. That was my big issue for Rogue One. It's like, well, we know they're gonna get the plans, and that these people probably aren't gonna make it out. So like, what's the stakes gonna be? But man. See, even though we knew it was going to happen, we didn't know Rogue One. We didn't know how it was going to happen.
Yeah,
the way that they did it was different than what I expected, and also just they made you love those characters like right away, because it's not that long of a movie, and a lot of characters aren't even in the first like 10-20 minutes of it.
Right.
So you didn't know them for that long, but like.
They're brimming with personality.
Like, I mean, shit, like Cheru, like I'm one with the Force and the Force is with me, and he walks out there. It's like, oh my god, man, like this fucking movie.
Man has Jesus.
Yeah, this movie is getting me. I was like, God, like I assumed that these people were gonna die, but like you're ready for that's. I mean, that's the mark of good writing and good storytelling. Is like you know how it's gonna end, but you're still like emotionally affected by it. But I think that's hard to do.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna bring up like because we know that certain things are going to happen in a certain way because there's already another movie that already like proves this is going to be false.
Yeah.
I think that opens up a really interesting way to challenge the writers, because like obviously they can't put the stakes being
is Han gonna die?
Like that. Yeah. So like, because that's already a well-known thing. So I think that's an interesting way to challenge a writer. Like you gotta switch up the stakes besides just death.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think one thing I forgot to say, what I'm most excited about is it could go either way. I think this is what the movie hinges on, is the relationship between Han and Chewie.
Yeah,
so I'm assuming they're gonna meet in this movie. I'm guessing. I don't know.
That way.
And I think because that's just such a important relationship.
Do you know
that if they do that well, I think the movie will be great. If that's weird and I don't buy it, I think that'll tank the movie. I think that's what it's.
Do you know how they met in the comics?
Doesn't he like rescue in the old books that are no longer canon. I think isn't he a slave and he rescues him?
Han was like part of the Imperial Flight School.
That's right.
And then he was just like, well, fuck these guys.
Yeah, these guys are the worst.
A bunch of Nazis.
Yeah, and does he liberate Kashyyyk in like all of it? Or one of them, Han and Chewie go back and like
in one instance they go back to Kashyyyk, but he like does like a prison break with like a bunch of Wookiees, and then like Chewie's just there.
He's like, yeah, you're like he owes him like a life debt sort of deal, and
exactly.
And they're boys from there on. Yeah. And I was kind of getting the vibe that in the trailer that I saw that they're gonna go with that, like Han used like at one point being an Imperial like pilot.
I'd be very very cool.
And I like that. I think that's a cool idea. So finally, to wrap it up tonight, any predictions for what you think might happen here?
I'm really hoping we get to see Luke Skywalker's 2 clones. That's a joke because he does not clearly exist. Do you know about Luke Skywalker's 2 clones in the comics?
No.
I don't remember like the context of the clones or like why or how these clones were made, but it's the 2 clones. They were named Luke and Luke. Like just spell Luke, but with like the first clone was like Luuke, and the second clone was like Luuuuke.
Oh boy.
Luke, the clone.
Some high quality writing going on there.
But in all seriousness, predictions, I think that what this movie will do for the Star Wars mythos, I could potentially see it like with all these new characters. It's certainly not going to be a Rogue One. I'm going to just guess that certain people are going to perish with whatever they're going to do.
You could also see some people living because they have these big name actors that are doing it.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And this, I feel like there's be more believability to, oh yeah, they were just out there doing other stuff and they could kind of, keep going with that to some degree.
With how everything's going with LucasArts, Disney, and just the company structure,
we have like a bajillion films coming down the
just like they're franchising it.
Well, Ryan Johnson has a trilogy of whatever he wants, and Benioff and Weiss from Game of Thrones I don't know if they have a trilogy or just one movie. I'm not sure, but they're all spinoffs like that have no context. Like they can just do
right. So yeah, my prediction is that there's gonna be some people that are gonna live that's close to Han. and then just maybe in a different continuity. I don't want to like put a huge like statement or stake into this, but I kind of think that maybe this might be like a gateway into like a Star Wars cinematic universe, much like the Marvel cinematic universe. Like they might like I don't know, for an example, like Woody Harrelson might live and just like go off do something else.
Him and Han have a falling out, but like he's still around there during the rebellion, and he's off doing like gangster shit, or like.
And then in one of these other new trilogies I'll put, he's might just show up
with Leia do it, or not Leia, Lando doing something. And
then he just might show up, and then he might just be part of a different story. So I think my prediction is I think this might be a gateway to a Star Wars
totally
cinematic.
agree with that. I think the two biggest candidates for that, I think, just obviously by the profile of the actors, are Emilia Clarke and Woody Harrelson.
See, I think that she is maybe potentially gonna die, but maybe just not return, just because she's kind of a big name, and that's gonna cost some money.
Yeah, that's true.
Not that, get her back.
Not that they
not that they have a problem, but I'm just like,
and Game of Thrones is wrapping up, so
that's true.
That's true. Less that she's doing. Yeah. I agree with that. I think people from this movie are gonna go on and have further impact on the Star Wars universe.
If you're in a Star Wars movie, you got a career now.
Yeah, no joke, man. Crazy. I agree with that. I don't just predictions for me. I think listen, how we're gonna feel about it. I think we're gonna be somewhere in the middle. Like, this is good. It didn't like blow my mind. There's some things that like bother me about it.
Okay,
but I don't see it being like, oh god, that was terrible. I wish they wouldn't have made it. I don't think it's gonna be that level.
I think we'll have like some semblance of like a satisfaction.
Like a solid 7 out of 10.
Okay,
7, 6, somewhere in there. I think. That's at least my expectations, and I have learned to not hype up movies too much. Because then you go in with your expectations are too high, and
absolutely.
I learned that in Spider-Man: Homecoming, because I was like, I want this to be good so bad. If it's bad, I'm gonna like be very upset. So I'm just gonna go in now expecting, and then of course it was incredible.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to hit here as we kind of wrap up? Anything else on Solo?
What do you think
Star Wars in general?
Where do you think Chewie's gonna? I mean, like he's kind of like a very odd character to kind of see like where like he might like allegiances go, and it's also a little bit difficult since a lot of the times he's just like bound to Han in a sense. But I think this movie will like open up to like Chewie maybe having like a little bit more, I don't want to say personality, but more independence, like more of a mindset.
Oh yeah. So this is gonna be huge. This movie's gonna be huge for Chewie.
Okay. 100%. Yeah.
I totally agree with that. Get like it's not just a Han origin story. It's a Lando. It's it's Chewie. It's a whole thing.
It's even like opening up the floodgates to like the whole like underworld of the universe, like all the dark and sea,
which I think is interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
You could do almost a like The Wire Star Wars, like something like that. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, they've got a lot of stuff to work with, and again, like I said, cautiously optimistic.
I would love like a Star Wars TV show buddy cop. They just going around like two galactic police enforcers.
What do we got? A couple of stormtroopers with like holes in them. Like,
look at these guys, couple of cards.
Yeah. Now I'm picturing like people in the Star Wars universe doing like the CSI Miami, like with the glasses.
Yeah.
I guess he got blasted. Like, oh god.
I would love that.
That'd be amazing. All right, is that everything you got for me here tonight, Nicholas?
I think I've said what I've came here to say.
I think I have as well.
Yeah, it's really hard to talk to you a little bit because there's a lot I potentially want to say, but again, it's deals with the trailers. But I think I've like danced around enough where like I'm satisfied.
Yeah, you didn't. I don't feel like you spoiled anything for me or anything.
Cool.
All right, guys. Well, this has been the Flick Your Bick podcast with Ben and Nick. Thanks so much for joining us. Again, we're gonna try to have these out on a semi-weekly basis. Got a couple other topics that we know we want to hit. We're gonna bank a couple of them, and to make sure we have something every week to put out and keep us on a steady schedule. But if you have any other ideas for topics, anything you want to hear about, again, we're open to anything. Let us know. You can hit us up on the Twitter and the YouTubes. Also, Nick, give them your Twitter as well.
I'm at Korean McHugh, just at Korean McHugh on Twitter. I I always forget the specific YouTube channel for Flick Your Bick. I think it's Flick Your Bick Pod.
I believe it is. And I believe that is the Twitter as well.
Yeah.
And that's K's on the end of each of those.
Right.
K on Flick, K on Bick.
Yep.
K squared. There you go. That's where we'll be. Come hit us up. Thank you so much for listening tonight, guys. We will catch you on the other side. Thank you.
See you later.